So if you have not played Breath of the Wild on Nintendo Switch, you're missing out. This game is one of the best on the Switch. All right. Hey, and I know right now it can be hard to get a Nintendo Switch, good quality Nintendo Switch, because people buying them left and right and everything. But if you are able to get your hands on a Nintendo Switch, make sure you get Breath of the Wild. But this video that we're going to be checking out is 30 more things you still didn't know in Zelda Breath of the Wild. Alright, but before we get into this reaction video, hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you do not miss any of my reaction videos. Alright, let's kick this thing off.
Round 6 of more things you didn't know about Breath of the Wild. This time we're gonna dip our toes again into more secrets about the game's development and game files. So if you continue to enjoy this series, support us by liking this video. It helps a bunch. And here we go. It's possible to make a pet guardian that keeps returning to you. In a previous video, I showed how to disable a guardian using Urbosa's Fury and Stasis. But a side effect of this is if they get pushed or launched away, they will always return to the point that got disabled, which means you can launch them using Cryonis, and have them walk back to you like a dog. And if you wanted to, launch over with them and go for a quick ride. This is different from the old guardian riding technique, because this is actually a friendly guardian, who's a good boy. Most Skyward Sword fans saw this hard-to-miss reference at the Spring of Power when Breath of the Wild first released, but there's another Skyward Sword reference that is not so obvious. The wall designs on Skyloft's walls are seen at Lanayru Promenade, all old and worn down. While it's completely impractical to do, the fact that you can launch an item, stasis the next object it hits, transfer that momentum, then repeat onto the next object, just shows how cool Breath of the Wild's engine really is, and a testament to how well it works. There are 2 enemies in the game that don't break your weapon when you throw a weapon at them. Malicides can be destroyed when you throw a weapon at them, and bees are immediately dispersed when you do the same. It's even considered a critical hit. On the same note, there's also a technique called Unbroken Throw that allows you to throw against enemies without breaking your weapon. By first striking an object before it touches the enemy, the weapon doesn't break. The easiest way to do this is with the Master Cycle. Now you can throw freely without worrying about losing your weapon.
For generations, the family recipes at Caraba's Italian Grill have been bringing people together from the sweet smell of our scratch.
I didn't know that.
You can headshot stall enemies, even when their bones are still a pile in the ground. Did you know that all explosive barrels are not created equal? Where some barrels did massive damage while others only stung a bit. That's because there's actually 3 different damage values for explosive barrels, including the additional fire damage. Weaker barrels do 10 damage, middle barrels do 46 damage, and strong barrels do a whopping 86 damage. Unfortunately, there's no way to tell them apart visually, so here's a map of the different damage barrels. Specific stall goblins have some really strange properties when they die. Instead of falling apart, they slowly float up to heaven.
What?
There is one deciduous tree, aka non-pine tree, that exists in snowy areas. This single tree south of North Lomé Labyrinth. It even grows out of solid bedrock.
I think I've seen that one.
Weird. While swift carrots may seem plentiful and easy to get because of Kakariko Village, this is actually one of the rarest wild ingredients in the game, with only a handful of them on Satori Mountain, and a singular carrot someone dropped behind the horses at the Highland Stable. Did you know that moblins can throw the barrels you can hide in?
I did not know that.
There are many places throughout the game that block horses from entering, called horse barriers. Most of these have a roof though, so if you can drop down on them from above with your horse, you can walk around on thin air. Normally, rocks have a random chance to drop loot under them, but several rocks in Hyrule are hard-coded to give you specific drop table rewards every time, such as rupee-only rocks, ore-only rocks, and special ones, such as this rock at Satori Mountain, which always gives you a diamond, and this rock in front of the old man, which always gives you a hightail lizard, which was likely designed to teach and reward new players to pick up rocks, which normally would be a low chance at random rewards. There's a mysterious
rock that always gives you a diamond reward? That's
still
crazy.
In the game's file, originally designed to keep players out from accessing certain areas in the Breath of the Wild's E3 2016 demo. Strange thing is that this same asset is still used in the game, but is barely ever seen. with almost all of them with collision set to false, so Link simply walks through this invisible barrier. But there are some E3 air walls that still work, such as the holes you shoot through at Sheem the Go's shrine, and the wall surrounding the Great Plateau Tower to prevent you from falling too far away from the tower bottom. Did you know that the Wolf Link amiibo helps you search for items you pinged on your radar? When nearby a searched item, it will head towards it and wait for you to pick it up. On the same note, if you search for a rusty broadsword here at the Gerudo Canyon Pass, it says it's nearby, but nothing is found. It seems like it would pair well with this single rusty shield on top of this rock, and it does, if you decide to clip into the rock below. The rusty sword is hidden inside, sitting on top of the stone below. Breath of the Wild has a certain type of rocky terrain that you've definitely seen before as a barrier or a cliffside, but what you might not know is what its official name is. The official asset name by Nintendo for these rocks are Cliff Cheese Wall, Cliff Cheese Stone, and Cliff Cheese Rock. Now I'm hungry.
Cliff Cheese.
There is one apple near the Horwell Bridge that's buried underground. Barely noticeable, but did you know that round bombs are thrown farther than square bombs? The fastest way to gain a horse's trust is by spurring quickly, braking, then soothing, then accelerating again. Literally speedrunning a horse's friendship. If you headshot this moblin in Hyrule Castle while it's on the stairs, he'll, go for a little ride. I remember doing that when I was a kid. There's some secret dialogue you will never see unless you went out of your way to reload certain conversations, such as with Barda during the Search for Barda quest, where the conversation will be completely different if you have Gerudo armor on or off. Did you know you could protect yourself against thorns with Daruk's protection without actually cracking the shield? This might seem straightforward for some players, but most players still don't know that you can simply switch runes through the rune explanation menu. Did you know that the HP scanning system used to be an ability that the Sheikah Slate would always have? You used to be able to scan enemies from a distance and display their HP, just like the Champion's Tunic or Ancient Armor. In hindsight, I'm glad they went with the armor idea, because running around and scanning enemies doesn't really sound fun. When disarmed, style Lizalfos like to attack just like any other Lizalfos empty-handed, by tail whips or tongue attacks. Except it has no tongue or guts, so when it tries to, nothing happens. It's trying its best. This is what Breath of the Wild's map looked like back in 2014, and this is what it looks like now. It might not be so obvious in normal gameplay because once enemies see you, they don't really care about anything else and simply attack you. But most enemies, such as Moblins, Lizalfos, and Bokoblins, are actually terrified of Guardians.
Oh, they are? Okay. They just start running already?
There are a ton of things in the game that can be parried, but did you know that you can parry a Fire Choo-Choo Jelly? While Ice and Shock Jellies aren't blockable, Fire Jelly's explosions are actually considered a strike, and can be parried. The Guardian Skywatcher's weak spot is a Sheikah symbol right on its top. The interesting thing though is that the Guardian turrets strewn around Hyrule Castle are all just upside down Skywatchers, with these weak spots protected since they're right side up. But if you clip underground, you can just one-shot them from underneath by exploiting the same weakness.
Oh, I did not even know that. So that's the weakness, okay.
And that's a wrap. Hopefully you learned something new again today to show off to your friends. If you like this series and more breakdowns, check out our Breath of the Wild Expert Series playlist. And of course, for everything else gaming, stay tuned right here on GameSpot.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild is a dope game. And they say that Phoenix Rising is like a rip-off of Breath of the Wild, but the both games still good in their own sense. They're both good in their own sense and everything. But Breath of the Wild, there's still a lot of things about Breath of the Wild I still don't know about. I'm going to continue watching videos like this to understand it better. Also, they're working on Breath of the Wild 2, if you guys haven't noticed. And if you want to check out that trailer, go and check that out on IGN or something like that. Or on GameSpot. I'm pretty sure they upload the trailer on that as well. But man, if y'all like my reaction to this, post comments down below, like and share to all your friends. Subscribe to this channel for more reaction videos. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. J Anchor on it down for 100,000 subscribers, and J Anchor is out.